Giants Live World Open happening this weekend in Cardiff. We've got a completely different lineup than originally announced, so let's dive into the athletes, and as always, we'll let you know our thoughts. Auntie Liz, this is unfortunate. I mean, I say unfortunately, there's been a lot of changes to the original lineup for this competition. Now, obviously that can be disappointing for fans that wanted to see certain athletes, but we have some big stars in this lineup and some potential real future stars as well. And that is always nice, and we're going to talk through maybe some of these lesser known athletes to a few of you, and, you know, I think people are really going to like some of these guys.
I think it's going to be a great show. And what I really love is that Giants Live, rather than just backfill, they've really used this as an opportunity to give newer guys a chance at a big show.
Yeah, they've actually looked at what's been happening across the strongman spectrum, and, you know, these athletes have been putting in performances, and now they're getting their opportunity at Giants Live.
And I know I've seen some criticism, couldn't they have been invited to a later show, because then, you know, they've got a chance to train. But the problem is, the athletes' invitations have all been sent out for the Glasgow show, and that's all that's left, because
you know, if you're not one of those top guys, these are the opportunities that you have to take.
Yeah.
Now, is it ideal? No. You've not had perfect prep like an athlete that's invited 12 weeks out. But that's not uncommon. And it's these athletes that can take these opportunities and kind of make the most of them that will then get a look in the future as well. They don't have to come in and win these shows. No. They've got to come in, perform, show what they're capable of, and, you know, honestly, if I'm going to give them advice, as cheesy as it sounds, win the crowd.
Yeah.
Because if you can kind of, you know, get yourself in front of that crowd and people react to you, the organisers do take notice of that as well. Obviously, you need to be able to perform as well.
Yeah, you've got to be able
no
to do
good
something.
if you're just a great entertainer but you can't lift anything up. Obviously, it is a competition first and foremost. But yeah, I think, you know, I'm excited to see a number of these newer athletes. And I think we will see a great competition. So shall we go through the lineup?
Let's start with Gav Bilton. Obviously, this is pretty much a hometown competition for Gav. Now, he has been training for a very big deadlift this year. I know he wants £1,000 at this show, but he did do the Shore Classic. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects his performance. But no matter what, we know that Gav is going to give it his all here.
He's just such a friendly face, but a real crowd favourite. Yeah. Every single time you see Gav, I'm not talking about us, but like everyone, you know, everyone that goes to these competitions, they just seem to love Gav.
They get behind him.
And I get it. Yeah. I love Gav.
Yeah, I know. It's impossible not to love. It's just such a joy to watch someone who's clearly enjoying it and who's so passionate about what he's doing.
So the next athlete is a seasoned pro, a man that's won multiple Giants Live shows. He's won the World's Strongest Man. He's won the Rogue Invitational. You know, one of the best athletes over the last few years, Alexei Novikov. However, coming off a very disappointing performance for him at the Shore Classic, and we should point out he has had some surgery recently, some injury issues. He doesn't feel he's kind of anywhere near back to his best, but this is Alexei Novikov, and he's always going to be a threat.
Absolutely, and this is a very different competition to the Shore Classic. It's a one evening show and 5 events instead of 8, so a bit less punishing on the body.
And I mean, although he personally would probably be disappointing in his placing at the Shore Classic, he still beat a few of the athletes that are competing in this show.
Did, yeah.
Another man that competed at the Shore Classic really started the competition absolutely blisteringly, openly admits that he made a mistake and he wants to put that right. Evan Singleton. For me, Evan is the favourite for this whole competition.
I think so too, especially when we start to delve into the events.
Yeah.
Next on the list is Rauno Hainler, one of the big names for the first event in this competition, which is, of course, the Deadlift World Championships. He won that competition last year. This year, he really wants that 505 world record.
He does, but he is also talking about wanting to do the full comp as well.
Yeah, he wants to do the full comp. He's been training for it.
Yeah. When we were over there, we did some events with him. I did. But obviously, the main focus, I think, for Rauno has to be the deadlift. So the next athlete we're looking at is the first of our newbies. We are talking about Austin Andre, representing Mexico, lives in Texas, I believe. Now, I've actually kind of been told about this guy for a while because he's friends with one of my clients. So I've been following his stuff and he's had an amazing year so far. Winner of the SCL Latino competition earlier in the year and just last weekend winning the Shaw Open, the Shaw Classic Open, which is a highly stacked competition, and it's qualified him for next year's Shaw Classic. So he's got some big shows to look forward to. He's taken this opportunity, absolutely jumped at the opportunity. I think he's going to put on a brilliant show. Very, very strong man, and someone to look out for in the future.
The next athlete is Luke Stoltman. Now, he was one of the originals for this lineup, and I was a little bit surprised at the time with it being the Deadlift World Championships, because that's always been a weaker event for Luke. But saying that, he's had for him some really good performances in deadlift this year. So hopefully he's feeling confident, possibly set a new competition PB, and really looking forward to seeing how he does.
Absolutely. Obviously, Luke is a former winner of multiple Giants Live shows. Yeah. He's a big name. He will want to put in a big performance. You know that.
Yes, of course.
Now, someone I think is going to be quite surprised at my prediction for them in this competition is our next athlete, Rob Kearney, because he's so used to coming to Giants Live and me kind of being quite mean about Rob, and it's never mean. You know, Rob understands it's never anything personal. But I actually think he's got a great list of events at this competition.
Do you? It's quite grippy though, and he's
no.
got the...
One event that maybe will cost him is the hold.
Okay.
But his dumbbell is awesome. His deadlift is very good.
Yeah.
He's decent at stones, and I think the loading and push will be good for him. So the grip hold is probably where I feel Rob won't win the competition, but I think he's got some events he can get some big points on.
So next is one of the later call-ups to this competition, Shane Flowers. Now, we saw Shane just a few weeks ago, and he won his first international competition, the Strongman Champions League England. Yeah, and I was going to say, he looks in great shape right now.
Training has gone very well for Shane recently. I know he was a little bit disappointed in terms of his performance, but he won, and sometimes just getting that first win is quite difficult. So, he's got that under his belt. I think he's got a good set of events at this competition as well. If he turns up in shape and he's relaxed, he could do very well as well. Our next athlete representing Poland is Oskar Zilkowski. Now, Oskar just recently won the OSG Europe's competition. He also won the Arnold's Amateur earlier this year. However, he competed last weekend, which kind of surprised me a little bit, knowing you've got this opportunity, but he still came second in the SCL. So he's put together a real string of awesome results. I'm sure he cannot wait to compete at his first Giants Live show. And, with what he's done so far this year, I'm expecting a big performance. I don't know a huge amount about Oskar in terms of what events he's really good at and where he'll kind of pick up points, but I'm looking forward to watching him so I can kind of see where I think he's going to go in the future.
Figure him out. So next is Ivan Makarov, who, whilst known as more of a deadlift specialist, he is doing the full competition.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so it'd be very interesting to see, just like Rauno, he wants to break the deadlift world record, but he also wants to do the whole competition. But this isn't his first time, is it?
No, a couple of years ago when he won the Deadlift World Championships, he competed in the full competition as well. So good to see him doing more than just the deadlift. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. He's looked very, very strong on his deadlifting training, and he looks massive. The last of our exciting newbies is Evans Nana. This guy is just electric, really fun to watch. He's won Champions League show this year. He's been on the podium in a few, really kind of building a name for himself. Just recently pulled 400 kilos for the first time. He's looking to come and get a PB at this competition. He's someone I'm really excited to watch because I think he could be a big star in the future. He needs to take this opportunity and learn from it. Just go, enjoy it, have fun, compete against these kind of seasoned pros and show everyone what you're capable of.
So the last athlete that's doing the full competition is Paro Dwyer, and he is also a late call-up to fill in for some of the guys that had to drop out. But looking at the events here, there's some decent events for Par, especially the dumbbell. I think it's probably his best overhead.
A dumbbell is definitely his best overhead. I just can't help but think Giants Live invited Par because of the kind of beef between him and Jamal on the deadlift. So that's going to be interesting to watch. But, Par is always entertaining. I'm not kind of sure what shape he's in right now. Par in shape with these events, I think, is pretty good. So it depends kind of how his training's gone. Last minute call up for Par. I'm not quite sure where he is right now. And then, as you mentioned, Jamal Browner and Graham Hicks are doing the deadlift only. It's interesting to see Graham Hicks just doing the deadlift, but you've got Rauno and Ivan both doing the full competition. However, Graham has been really, really focused on this deadlift record. It's something he really wants. His training's gone very well up until the last point where he kind of just picked up a small issue with his hamstring. Says he's fine, says he's coming to smash that, and Jamal Browner deadlifting conventional with no suit, wants to try and pull 1,000 pounds. So I think we're going to see some amazing lifts at this competition.
And let's not forget, of course, we have another guest lifter in the deadlift, which is Lucy. Yes.
Yeah.
Lucy Underdown is going to break the women's deadlift world record, the strong woman deadlift world record.
And do you know what? The question is not does she break the record, but by how much?
Yeah, so she currently holds it at 300 kilos, but just a while ago she repped that for 3 repetitions, didn't she?
She is looking super strong. Cannot wait to see what she can pull in front of a huge crowd, and with all the guys there going to be screaming her on. Everyone's going to be supporting her. Cannot wait to see what she does. So, events, who do we think are going to do well on the events? They are starting off with the max deadlift. Now, I think lots of people have been talking about the deadlift, and there's obvious names where you will expect to see athletes getting big points.
Yeah.
We're going to take out Graham and Jamal because they are just doing the deadlift. So for me, guys like Rauno, guys like Even, they are the favourites in this event. However, there are other athletes that can pull big numbers, such as Evan Singleton. Mm-hmm. Rob Kearney has pulled 440, I believe, in the World Deadlift Championships before. Alexi's pulled 1,000 pounds. Not sure where his deadlift is right now. He came back and pulled the 500 kilos at the Shore Classic last weekend, but he missed it the first time. And normally, with Alexi, he's better at those elevated, higher pulls. So, not sure where he's at right now. Gav Bilton feeling very, very strong on the deadlift. And Shane Flowers is a very good deadlifter as well.
Yeah.
So they would be who I'm kind of expecting to get the biggest points on the deadlift.
So the next event is the dumbbell medley. It's a ladder, isn't it? We've seen this before at the London show. And we've got some great dumbbell presses here. Alexei Novikov, obviously a standout, but we do not know how effective he's going to be by his elbow. I don't know, does Alexei lift on both arms?
No, he's more right-hand dominant, I think. But is he right-handed? Actually, I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's one-arm dominant.
Yeah.
But also Evan Singleton, great dumbbell presser. Luke Stoltman, Rob Kearney.
Rob's very good. At the Royal Albert Hall, Rob was one of the few to finish the dumbbells. So I'm expecting big points from Rob. So the wrecking ball hold. This is going to be good. I'm interested to see how this is built because I know, knowing Darren, he's going to want it to look impressive.
Yes. It's going to be interesting because none of, Evan's got great grip. But other than that, none of your big grip people are in this competition. Now, Evan's Nana has very good grip, doesn't he?
He does. He's really good at things like frame carries, farmers walks, etc. Yeah. But yeah, Evan Singleton for me has to be the favourite on this one.
I think so.
His grip is phenomenal. We've seen that multiple times.
Hard one for the guys to train for as well. So we were in Estonia recently and Rauno was training with a 200 kilo, like a power stair implement, wasn't it?
Duck walk type implement.
Yeah, and he did very well. He was near a minute, but who knows? How does it compare to the setup that they're going to have?
Yeah, this is going to be a hard one for Rauno. I know we want to kind of hope and pray that he's going to do well, but
you never know,
I don't think he's going to be top. He's certainly not top 3.
Wow.
On this, I think Evan is going to be the man to beat on it. I actually think Evan's Nana is going to be good. I've been impressed with his grip. Shane Flowers has a pretty good grip as well. I'm not sure on guys like Austin and Oscar how good their grip is, but could well be, up there with the best. So we'll see. And Gav Bilton actually has done some solid holds before, so he could pick up some big points on this one. It's one of those, because it's a new implement,
we could be
none of the athletes have touched it. That can be quite telling sometimes. Athletes often like to have a feel for things and they kind of start to learn the equipment. Sometimes when it's brand new, it can throw people completely. So making sure they get set up right is going to be important. There's no Mark Felix who's just going to wrap his hands around things and hold it all day long. But saying that, Evan has beaten Felix on grip events a couple of times as well, so he has to be the favourite for me. Next event is the load and push, which I think is just loading some implements into a wheelbarrow and then they pick it up and run all the way back. Last year it was a pretty blisteringly fast event.
So last year at this show they did it into a skip, but they did it into wheelbarrows at Europe's Strongest Man this year, and it was very quick, especially with people like Pavlo Kordiaka.
Yeah, so I think at this point of the competition it's going to be who's got energy left, and there are some fast athletes. So someone like Shane Flowers, unbelievably quick. Alexei is obviously really, really fast, and I think Alexei should do okay on this event because it's not so much top end strength that's needed, it's more of that athletic ability. Should still be able to move well. Part is fast, so, and Evans is fast as well. We've seen him moving really well.
And I
think Oscar looks like he could be good at this type of event as well in terms of physical attributes. So much harder event to predict, but I still see Evan Singleton there or thereabouts. This is why I kind of see him as the favourite for the competition, because I can't see any of these events where he loses many points.
No. And then finally, they are ending on the Atlas stones. I happen to know it's the slightly lighter set at Giants Live. They're finishing on the 180 kilo stone. Now, everyone here is completely capable of finishing all 5 stones. It's going to depend on how battered they are. But again, in this lineup, with this set of stones, it's almost hard to see past Evan Singleton again.
Evan Singleton, very good on this particular set of stones. He's well trained on it.
Yes.
But saying that, Shane Flowers' stones are looking really good right now. Gav Bilton is an amazing stone lifter, so I wouldn't count him out. Luke Stockman can do good stone runs. So yeah, I think looking at those athletes, and you know, at this point, after the deadlift for max, it does drain their back. You know, it's one of those events where, when you see guys pushing to the absolute limit on a deadlift, it does take it out of them.
Yeah.
So I understand why Giants Live have put the lighter set in. I'm not saying I'm a fan of it, but I think a lot of people that watch just like our show or kind of just watch the TV show don't appreciate the fast pace of the Giants Live. Backstage, once the deadlift is done, the athletes are just going to be moving and moving. They're going to be kind of like forced back out there. It's going to run really, really rapidly fast. And that's something that the newer guys may struggle with.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, it's still Strongman, but because it's a show that they're trying to get done in front of a live crowd as quick as possible, they like to run it pretty fast, and it does catch up with a couple of athletes if they're not used to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the events, that's the athletes. I have a clear favourite in my head.
Yeah.
But I see the next places as, really could be anyone. And, never count out someone like Alexei Novikov.
No. And I think even, at 60, 70%, I would not be surprised to see Alexei podium in this show. I just hope his elbow's okay and he's not feeling too battered.
Yeah, I think if Gav can recover fully from the Shore Classic, he's got some great events, and I think that kind of Welsh crowd is just going to pick him up and motivate him.
Yeah.
I think Shane Flowers is really worth watching in this competition.
Yeah. 100%.
I don't see a huge amount of weaknesses for Shane. I think maybe Evan's just that little bit better. Like I said earlier, I think Rob Kearney's got some really good events. Luke Stoltman, I think Luke for him needs a big performance. Now, the question mark for Luke is a deadlift. His deadlift is going to drop points. I don't think anyone would argue that. His grip has improved, and I think on things like this, if he can figure it out, he will be okay. Load and push is pretty solid, and he's a great stone lifter.
Yeah.
So he I think for him, he needs a good performance.
Yeah. It's honestly, I find this so hard to predict because we just don't know.
We see it all the time, don't we?
I know, but I think that's a great sign for the sport of where we're at right now. It is hard to look at a list of events and say.
One of the reasons I'm not picking one of the newer guys is because all three of them have competed very regularly, very recently.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be feeling it a little bit.
They're going to feel it halfway through the show. They're going to be like, whoa, this is crazy.
If they're used to the Shore Classic, you're used to the Arnolds, even the SCL shows, they run slower paced.
They do.
So this is fast paced, and if they've never been in front of a crowd like that, it can be a little bit intimidating at times as well.
A bit overwhelming.
Huge learning curve. For me, Evan Singleton comes out on top. I'm going to go Shane Flowers taking second place.
Nice.
And although I really want to see Gav on the podium, I'm actually going to go with Rob Kearney, because I always kind of dismiss Rob. I know he's been training hard, and I want him to know I still love Rob. It's just you keep going to like the biggest shows and there's always a couple of grip events in there. So I want to see Rob get on the podium in a Giants Live.
Interesting. Alexei Novikov is still on my podium. Like, I know 10th at the Shore Classic, but very different competition.
I won't be surprised to see Alexei on the podium. I won't be surprised to see Luke on the podium.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Like I want to predict Rauno will do well, but what I really want is for Rauno to pull 5:05 and then just help me out for the rest of the evening as my assistant.
If Rauno pulls 5:05, I don't think he's going to care about the competition.
I know he wouldn't. That's the thing. He wouldn't.
There's no topping that.
No.
He needs
In
to
fact,
focus
just sit there like a legend and a god and lap it up. Don't show you have any weaknesses by doing the full competition. Just sit there and enjoy.
Yeah, guys, as always, let us know your thoughts. I think, genuinely, I think it's a hard one to predict in terms of podium. I'm pretty set on Evan. As long as he's kind of injury-free, I think he is the favourite to take the win. I think Evan beats Alexei in this competition, even with Alexei in top shape.
Yeah, to be fair, these events are very good for Evan, yeah.
Very good. So that's why he's my kind of heavy favourite in this one. But, yeah, the rest of the podium positions, who knows?
So this is a sellout event twice in a row now for Giants Live, which means there are currently no more tickets available, but you can watch it online on Saturday. This Saturday, it starts at 5 p.m. UK time over on officialstrongman.com. So we are going to be there getting you guys lots of action from behind the scenes. Very excited. We go to a competition every couple of weeks, but it always feels like such a long time since the last one.
We've spoken kind of together about wanting to get more interviews with athletes. So if you guys would like things like that, let us know, because Liz is going to try and get interviews before the comp, etc., and see how everyone's doing. So if you guys want those, just let us know in the comments below. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time. Giants Live World Open happening this weekend, the 2nd of September in Cardiff. Our next athlete representing Poland is Oskar Zielkowski. Is that right?
Yeah.
Happy?
Yeah.
Good?
Fine, yeah.
Energy enough?
Yeah, good. Yeah. So there we go then, Lozzo. Time for prediction. No. Wait, there's another train coming.
Can you believe that? 2 trains.
You don't hear one for 6 hours and then 2 in 2 minutes. Deadlift has always been a bit... What the fuck? A 3rd train? What's happened? Maybe a rail's down and they're all being diverted out.
It's like dead track normally that never has anything on it.
Nothing, ever.
Anyway,
Oh,
as you
right.
were.
Oh.